It's the Jack
and Kathy
Show.
Shit Show.
And there we go.
Yeah,
Okay, I think it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm going to jump out this back door that's like 6 feet of a drop
More than
and
that.
sprain an ankle.
I always laugh when we do that and he says, "How are you?" Because we've been together nonstop.
Like,
Yeah.
how are you? She's like, I've been with you all
have
day.
To ask.
So
Yeah.
we always say hello to each other before we start, and it's funny because we have a special guest. His name is Jeff McClaskey. Wonderful guy.
I'm Bob Maluga.
And-
That was
yes. Oh,
that's a future guest. I
I'm
don't
a
know
little
who that is.
discombobulated from the hour and 45 minutes to set this shit up. But anyway, Dan asked us, and you'll introduce yourself in a second, but Dan said, so I know you say shit because it's a shit show, but can we swear? So fuck my life real quick.
Jack will set that precedent.
with
just
prepping
throw
for
the
this
F-bomb out there.
fucking podcast today.
Yes.
Oh,
that
I'm
was-
so glad we had backup stuff and it works. So Dan, thank you for your patience.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
I normally, believe it or not, don't do too much talking on this show.
Bullshit.
Fuck me. So, Dan, would you do me a favor and introduce yourselves?
Yes, all of my personalities.
All of you.
So yeah, my name is Dan Monday, and I don't know. I live in Ripon.
You're Mr. Ripon.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
what
You
we've
are.
decided. We call you Mr. Ripon.
For sure.
Well, let's hope everybody believes that. No. I feel like that too, maybe. But yeah. So I live and work in Ripon. I work for my mother's business, Back Porch Gatherings, and Back Porch or BPG Salvage Co. And then I co-own a store a couple doors away called Gents.
Which is
where we are
sitting
sitting
right
our
now.
asses
We are-
right
We are
now.
in the hair salon
Yes.
of
Yeah.
Gents, which is
Yes.
appropriate for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll never get to appreciate this unless
Yes.
I do some beard
Dude,
stuff
scalp
I know.
massage. You can get a straight blade shave in the future.
all day.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah.
she loves
But
he loves all of that.
Did you say
But
she loves
I
all
did
that?
say
Thank
she.
you.
Sorry, he loves all of that. But
She. It's
to
all good.
tie for the two people that listen to our podcast
I'll-
to link
we're
the
talking to you.
connection to you and Ripon with us.
Oh, can I interrupt something
So-
real quick? Sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, if you wanted to get people in here to just be fans and listen and laugh in the background, I'm totally fine with it. So if your mom or anyone else wants to come, I really mean it. Like, we're in the middle of this. We can press pause. No, I'm not going to press pause. Fuck it.
I'll just
Camera's
get a
going to keep
gang of
rolling.
people
We'll
in
edit
here.
post. But
There's
anyway.
a chance that somebody will knock at the door
That's fine.
because they see lights
all
on.
good.
They
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
we
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you're in there working.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, to
Good.
go back to connecting us to meeting you and why we're sitting here right now. So Jack and I were here, how many weeks ago was that? Was that like
maybe
a
a month.
month?
Yeah, it was a
maybe,
month before,
Yeah,
sure.
maybe 4 weeks
Yep.
ago. And I was in Ripon many, many years ago for a different reason and haven't been here since. So I would say like 15 years or so. I met Sarah 12, 15 years ago.
All right.
And so Ripon it wasn't that it wasn't on my radar, but I
Right.
hadn't been here in a long time and I really didn't know much about it. And just to give people context, we are, Jack and I live in the Milwaukee area and Ripon is an hour and 20 minutes northwest a little bit of Milwaukee. So, all of our international listeners that are listening. And, but our friend Katie has been saying to us, you have to come to Ripon I'm telling you, you have to come see this place. You cannot believe what people are doing there. It's fantastic town.
Yeah.
And so Jack and I thought, why not? We picked up Katie and the three of us came up here and we, along the way, we met you and we just were struck by what you are a part of in this town, as well as others. We recognize that. We haven't met everybody yet by any means.
Yeah.
But we just, with a with a podcast that's about relationships, we decided, A, we can do whatever the hell we want on our podcast because it's our podcast.
Right on.
But B, we
America.
really decided it kind of was on theme still because it's a relationship that we are developing with this beautiful town of Ripon. And meeting you.
We were truly blown away. And I honestly,
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
said to Kathy, and I hope you don't get too wigged out about this, but I
Is
said,
this where you're going to express your love for Dan again?
I said to her, I said, Kath, there is something about that fucking town because we met a guy 3 weeks ago. And I told him, I'm going to kill you right now if you not get comfortable and do not move.
Do not move.
I just saw
table.
everything disconnected. Oh, God.
I just bumped the table and
Everything
it
shook.
wiggled.
So I really mean this. I said to Kathy, when you sent the text about your folding your pizza,
Yeah.
and I went, Kath, this guy remembers a conversation about pizza and how you're not supposed to fold it. I went, we got to get there.
Gotta go.
There's something about how comfortable we feel here. And I don't know if we told you the story, but when I went to Muggs, when Kathy and Katie were at Patina V meeting Sarah,
Okay.
I was hanging out in Muggs.
Okay.
Kath calls up and says, they serve bourbon. You got to come over here. And
Yeah, right.
So I closed the laptop up in 15 minutes, and Ethan is the guy who was running at the time. In fact, saw him again today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm there for 5 minutes, and boy, bends over backwards apologizing. Is it my Wi-Fi? Did we say something?
Oh, because you
and I'm-
dipped so
Yeah,
quick?
because
I sat down, asked for
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. It wasn't working for a bit, and I went, I got to go. And he went, oh my God, I didn't mean to upset you. Where I'm going with this is hours later after hanging out with you, Kathy and I come back the next time to pick up all the stuff we bought from your mom's shop. And we see him and his girlfriend, wife, in that restaurant down the block, just
Christina's maybe?
the tavern, the
right over here.
yeah,
Just
the pub.
right that way.
Yeah.
Pastime, or a public house.
Yes,
That's
Yes,
it.
yes.
public
And we
house.
walk in, and he says, hey, how are you? And I'm staring, and I look at Kathy, I'm like, how the fuck do I know this guy? And I couldn't remember, and all of a sudden, he strikes up a conversation, and I said to her, and I swear to you, I'm like this, I start welling up, and I went, Kath, there is something telling us to be here. So that's why we wanted to interview you, because we think you're the mayor. You're amazing.
Not to
You're-
take
I
anything
would
away
never
from
run
the
for mayor
real
unless
mayor.
I had somebody to do all the paperwork for me.
Yeah.
And
I'll do it.
Yes. Okay. Well, hey,
Guaranteed.
You can
I'll
do
work for
paperwork,
you
maybe
any day.
I'll run.
Okay, so we've rambled forever, and we're new to here, right?
Yeah.
And then the other ironic thing is, just the neighborhood, right? We're driving around, going, "Oh my God, we got to be here." So you clearly love this place.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
And you are the spirit that draws us here. Where I'm not exaggerating, right?
Yes.
So tell us about your background, your life, your Ripon experience, all that stuff.
Sure. So born and raised, and by the way, at first, before we go there, I just want to say that's a very typical Ripon story, and one you'll have stuff like that happen all the time.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So that's not. Like
Okay.
a
You
weird
mean where Jack
coincidence.
gets recognized?
Yeah. I mean that's small town. Like,
Because
like,
he loves
dude.
that.
So I call Ripon Mayberry.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
very Mayberry. It's very Hallmark movie. I mean, when you go out, I don't think you've been here at night, but when you go outside tonight in a little bit, you'll see our beautiful lighting downtown.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous down here. And so anyway, back to me. So born and raised in Oshkosh.
Yes.
And loved it.
Yeah.
Growing up,
Which is 30 miles away
20
or so?
minutes.
20
yeah.
minutes.
It's like
Okay.
20 minutes
sure.
from here. I was
Yep.
at 2022.
Yep.
But for the international listeners.
Yeah.
But
We do have one. Doesn't Nancy listen?
Yes.
Yeah, we have someone in New
we have
Zealand.
someone in
Oh, you do?
New Zealand
Alright.
listening.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep. She'll. Yep.
So born and raised there. My family, my mom and stepdad moved to Omro. And I was in fifth grade. Okay.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
was terrified to go there because I was in the big city. And so I
Yes.
thought everybody in Omro were Amish.
Oh,
And there was about 10
That's
kids
why it was
my
called
age. That's what I
Omro,
thought.
because
Yes.
everybody's Amish.
Is that really it?
No.
And no,
not at all. It's spelled
they're
differently.
literally like the exact same kids as I went to school with.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but like I just assumed I was going to show up there and they were all overalls and whatever
Yeah.
farm kids, and that the school would be as big as this room, and
Did you
Yeah.
ever see The Office?
it
It
would
made
be-
me think of Dwight Schrute and his
I
beef
have,
farm.
I have only seen like 2 episodes.
never.
I'm
Damn
so
it.
sorry. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
the man has no time. As mayor of Ripon, he has
You're
no
right.
time. to sit and watch
I feel
shows
like
like
we
do.
gotta work
Okay.
much
I don't watch a lot of TV or movies,
Okay.
so references they.
Damn it. All right.
But no, I thought it was like going to be like a Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And I show up there and I met some cool kids. Whatever, grew up, and graduated. Moved to Colorado for a little bit. Was bouncing around, whatever, and yeah, and then 10 years ago or so, it was like maybe 8 years ago, somewhere in there. I was a overhead crane operator, so I was like lifting gigantic pipes for like hydroelectric plants, and putting them on semis or whatever, and getting them painted and things. And my mom I grew up in this this life of antiques. And,
So your mom dragging you to antiques or old barns, or
I just grew up in it. It was like the whole house looked like her store, but I never paid any attention to it, and I would only be part of it when I had to like lift.
I was going to say you were the muscle, right?
When I had to lift something heavy.
Whenever Ma rearranged the house, which was like, it seemed like weekly,
Yeah.
I'd be there moving dressers and things. And then, so I grew up in that, but never part of it as a business. So, at the time, like 9 years ago, my mom had a store in Berlin. And her friend said, "Hey, why don't you open a store in Ripon?" And we were like, "Ripon?" Like,
had you been here at all prior to that? Been through there.
I had some friends who lived in the trailer park over here.
Okay, sure.
And which was right across from what everybody knows Ripon for, Ripon Good Cookies.
Yeah.
And his mom worked there, so we would get the seconds.
Yeah.
And so we would come back with literally a trash bag full of vanilla wafers and just, and I was at probably, when I graduated high school, it was probably 350. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and he was bigger than me. So we would just play video games and just eat vanilla wafers for days.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so that's what I knew of Ripon, was the trailer park and cookies.
Ripon Good Cookies.
Yes. And so anyway, when we came here, the first thing that we did was we noticed that there was a lot of vacant buildings downtown.
Yeah. How long ago was this?
This
Give
was
us context
like 9 years
of a
ago.
year. 9 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what year it was, but anyway.
Okay.
For instance, like Patina V's building, which is absolutely stunning.
Oh yeah.
The most beautiful thing was literally, you looked in and it was rubble. I mean, 2x4s, bricks, dust, Mountain Dew bottles, cigarette packs.
Wow.
The windows were just completely covered in dust.
Wow.
And just absolutely bombed out Detroit.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And they had been vacant for quite a while. And so we found somebody who knew somebody in town here, who we used to call the mayor of Ripon. He used to be down here every day. John Olson, just a character. And a total politician at heart, right? Anyway, he got us in to decorate a window. That's all we did.
Yeah.
And so we just decorated. We put up painter's drop cloths in the backdrop, set up our antiques in the front, and just put a little sign that said, whatever, we have a shop in Berlin. And we just made it look a little bit better than rubble for Dickens, which is an amazing event. Highly recommend you Google that. Dickens of a Christmas. We kill it.
Okay.
But anyway, that was our first little dip into the water. And then shortly after, we found this building that we're in right now, and rented it. And 11 months into our 1-year lease, the lady who was running it, my mom's friend, who is currently our pillow lady, we don't hate you, Joy. We're not mad at you or anything. But anyway, it happened to be that she was like, "This is too much work. I want out."
Yeah.
And thankfully, because I entered the family business and just was going to come in and sell down the inventory. We were going to close this location, consolidate back into Berlin. And
wow.
So I have sales experience. So I went in, just to sell stuff. I have no idea. Like, you know, like I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's like a rummage sale. I don't know. And so, but like when people would come in, I was able to sell things to them, and I was like, wow, okay, maybe I did okay. And my mom showed up. At this time, I didn't have a cell phone. I was cell phone free most of my life.
Yes.
And so my mom came to, you know, pick me up, and she's like, oh, how'd you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I did any. I mean, I did like maybe $1,000 worth of sales. She's like, you're such a liar. So, and she's like, there's no way. And I'm like, no, I think I did. And she's like, you lie. And I'm like, no. And so at the time we had handwritten receipts and we didn't take credit cards.
Yes.
And, so I did like, I don't know, $1,090 or something in sales,
Dang.
which is, now looking back, I'm like, nigga, you did pretty good for your first day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that like at that time, well, like that was more than we had made in the previous month. Like,
dang.
Yeah. And
So did you fire your mom at this point? Did you like
off with your head?
I know you own the joint, but you're out of here.
I do this in a day.
But yeah, so yeah, we were our rent, by the way, was we have an amazing landlord here, and he charged our rent. You know, he knew what we had we had very little going on downtown.
Yes, yeah.
Over 50% vacancy.
Wow.
Downtown. So
Yes,
every other building
yes.
was vacant.
Yeah.
And looked like the rubble and the Mountain Dew bottles and things.
Yes.
It looked horrible
Yes.
down here. And we had our pick of the litter of buildings before we found this one.
Mm-hmm.
And the rent was very cheap. So $1,000 in a month was fine. We made money.
Yeah.
But $1,000 in a day was like, whoa. And so my mom was like shitting bricks, right? And so then I was open the next day, and I did like 1,100 or 1,200 the next day. And so it just happened to work out really well that I knew what these things were, because people would come in and they'd be walking around, they go, what's this? You know? And I would know what its original intent was, approximate age of it.
All those years of osmosis with your mom,
exactly.
right?
Osmosis, exactly right.
You know, and doesn't it connect? Because you said just a little while ago you really paid no attention. Your mom was always rearranging the furniture, but you clearly were soaking it all in.
Yeah, just a little sponge, you know.
And hearing everything.
The only reason I know how to build things is because when I was a kid, I wasn't playing Little League. My dad was going, you need help put a roof on. You need help do this. And so hated it at the time. Right? Because it was, man, I'm a kid. I want to do stuff. Yeah. But now it's the only reason I know stuff.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, so you're crushing it.
Yeah, doing good.
You meet with a lawyer to kick your mom out of the business. Your brother says there's other ways we can do this, dude. Okay. I'm just trying to
find her mentally.
You can say it now because the podcast is, no one's listening. So.
But no, so it became, okay, let's see, back up a little bit. So my ma had a style at Back Porch Gatherings, Berlin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which was French farmhouse. Everything was white. Everything was lace. It looked like a Paris apartment.
Yeah.
I mean, pale pinks occasionally.
Yes.
But other than that, everything's either black or white. And it's all soft and fluffy and whatever.
Okay.
And then this store had some of Joy's things in here.
Okay.
Which she had a Walter J's Vintage, which was her stuff, which is a little bit more farmhousey. And then my mom's French farmhousey look. And then as I was here after quite a while before I didn't feel comfortable or like it would add any value to suggest anything.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And but eventually, like as we're out picking out at farms and whatever, I would say, hey, that would be a really cool thing to have up front in that one space or whatever. And so I would buy like an old workbench, you know, and pressure wash it and clean it and fix it and whatever and bring it in. And that eventually like led into me kind of more or less curating more of the, suggesting things that my mom maybe wouldn't have bought, right? And so that led this place to be very, very industrial.
Sure.
So a lot of big metal, chunky workbench legs with big butcher block tops and, making bars, like a lot of, we were really known for making our bars and putting like one time we had a horse watering trough that was like up off the ground and had really cool cast iron legs. And we sealed it all up and put a top over it so that it was like a liftable, cooler. You fill it with ice. Sold to a wedding venue. That was like one of my first things that I was like, oh, this would be really cool as this.
Yeah.
But I let my mom decorate all this.
Yes.
And then one day I started suggesting decorations, like ideas, like, she was stumped on what to put on this wall or whatever. And I was like, oh, what about like that? And she's like, that's genius. And
I love
together.
that she trusted you. I love that she wasn't.
She doesn't trust me. No.
She must have at least that one day for a minute.
I am more than a salesman.
No, I love that she embraced your vision as well. That's so cool because I think she could see, because it sounds like she was ready to close up shop. Like it was
Here,
like,
100%.
getting ready to close the doors. And now if for everybody that's listening who is now going to come to Ripon and find out what the hell we're talking about,
you
have to go to back porch gatherings and you have to come into Gents and
everything in town is amazing.
Yeah, everything in town is amazing.
You can walk into like any shop and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the relationships of people, the kindness, it's off the charts.
We got that in spades.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Not even kidding.
No doubt.
Okay, so here's another thing that I did forget to mention. My mom's been in business my whole life since I was in the womb.
Yes.
And since before. And so anyway, so I did grow up in this business, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we've been in a bunch of different cities.
Sure.
In the Fox Valley.
Sure.
Oshkosh was like our first real brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Nobody, no downtown has what we have. We have a very
Agreed.
special.
It's really amazing that when you think about 10 years ago, Kathy and I were talking about this. There's so many towns that if you just invest in the community, right, you'll see a turnaround. And like my town, this little area called Downers Grove, where I lived in Illinois. When I first got my house there, the one that I rehabbed before I took off to Colorado and all that, the downtown was empty. There was an old bank building that was completely abandoned, maybe not quite to the effect of Patina V's like you were describing. But then a restaurateur came in and built this place and Pierce Tavern. Okay. And then put a Mexican restaurant right next door. And then another place went in.
It all just
and then all of a sudden,
popping.
Guess what happened next? They build a condo. They put a condo building next to in an area next to an apartment building 100%. Goes up, and that downtown is thriving. And it is elevated, and it's so funny because everyone thinks we deal with this a little bit in our community. There's this concern that it's going to be debauchery and bars and late nights and drunk driving. And when you're selling wine at $15 a glass,
what kind of clientele is
it's really not to push people out. It brings the whole community together, and home values go up, and it just changes things. But it takes that. I know I'm sounding like George Bailey.
I know,
right? But it takes that saying, we're going to invest in the community first, and it starts here.
Right.
So
anyway,
right.
And it takes a few anchor people like you guys.
It
takes a few that say,
it does. So
I'm doing this. Something about this feels right.
Yeah. So two things. One, real quick, I just want to say, last night I was talking with my mom. Well, I was actually talking to somebody else, and I thought about something, and I was I saw this window company, this like truck pulling a trailer, and it said Ripon Window and Door. And I'm like, I always go to Jackson Glass, which is in Ripon. And, but, I should consider just, because I keep 99% of my money like on the street.
Yes,
much, right?
yes.
And but I was like, I wonder if we could do something where like, you just like a little campaign that says Ripon first, like check Ripon first. So like we don't have a Walmart. We used to have a Kmart.
Yeah.
But like we have a lot of stuff in town here that I have seen many people go out of town to seek. They just go to Oshkosh and they get the
Dude,
whatever.
if there's a grocery store in town here, watch it take off. Even if it's just a small, I'm telling you,
So that's
yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No. That's all right. That's something I would totally
But
talk
Ripon
about.
first is great.
Yeah, so Ripon first, just trying to, because we don't have a ton of, to be honest, most of our dollars probably come from they're touristy dollars,
Yes,
right?
yeah, right.
And we don't have a huge, we have a good following in town here, but we have just so much. We have built a reputation for a destination city that we have. We have a lot more tourist dollars probably than we do have local dollars. But I think that I just wanted to try and do a little. I wanted to talk to somebody about doing a little campaign called Ripon First.
Yeah.
And see, and maybe
Not that we need it, but we just.
and,
but it's just good.
And maybe
to keep
It is good.
Maybe I'm all wet when I say this. I'm not a resident from here, so I don't want to step on toes. No. I love the Ripon First concept. I do believe that if this town starts to have the hotel taking off and a few other places for people to visit, that even if it's tourist dollars that drive it, it may then drive another industry to say, hey, I'm going to set up shop not far from there.
Yeah.
Because if there is still available land, it may be this is a place we're going to go. And, if this is a tourist destination, that's okay. Because if it revives the economy here and
it has.
everything's so why not? Like even Sarah, Sarah's got some success with Patina V.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: we were walking down the block, Kathy. We were in your store. Kathy ran into a neighbor.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we ran
So funny.
A neighbor from how far away?
I mean,
an hour and a half away.
when our kids were little, we lived next door to each other in the Milwaukee area, and she was in back porch, and I'm like, Jen, what the hell?
Let's take it a little bit further, right? And I really mean this. This is what draws people to want to figure this out, and I'm just a big, huge community development person, and it's I know it scares some locals because you get used to what the town was, and I don't mean to disparage that thinking.
No, I get it.
We were in Patina V, and just Kathy and I just chatting, and I say something about, do you want to schedule a workout at Spire, which is a club where we know in the 3rd Ward, Milwaukee. We know the owner.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and said, you want to schedule a thing for Spire? And this guy turns around, who walks past us and says, oh, do you know Hubie? And we're like,
Who owns the
This
fitness?
happens all
and we
the
went,
time
we
here.
fucking love Hubie. And so I couldn't help but saying, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, we love coming to Ripon. Just a nice little getaway. So if that's what draws people here and you're picking up the town and all those kinds of things, is that bad?
No, it's not bad at all. I was
So-
just thinking, how can we be more inclusive and more
correct, yes.
Just letting the people in the area know. Like we have a game store that opened last year on the corner over here.
Saw it.
And a lot of people don't know that. They're like on Facebook.
Why drive
Facebook.
40 minutes away? Come right here.
They go,
Totally
do
agree.
you know where I can find a good card game store in like Oshkosh or Appleton? And we're like, the guy goes, you can find one
downtown
3 blocks from your house.
Yes, right.
And we have competitive prices,
Yeah.
And it was just that that stuck in my head, that interaction on Facebook. And then the Ripon window and door thing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Have you tried running for mayor or president of the town yet? Or is that
like I said, I need somebody to do all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Literally I'll sign some things, but like
I'd like to say I'm good at that in the technology, but the hour and a half it took us to get this set up, I might have lost a little credibility.
Well, I was
We're gonna need
worthless,
some
so
help.
I just show up and talk. So
Yeah,
thank
that's
God for you.
I just think it's fascinating, and I love your spirit and energy for this. I really do,
Yeah,
and it has drawn the two of us here. I mean, you are
it's very easy for me. So.
Yes.
you are seriously you and your mom especially. It is a big reason why.
And your energy is contagious,
Cool.
and we can feel your passion, and certainly what you guys have done with your shops too. So anybody listening
if you're
has
watching
to come
the
here.
video, you can see we're in this cool ass barber shop. I wish we had.
It's
Yeah.
not
I wish we
done,
had.
just so you guys
It's
know.
not done, but it's
we're building it.
Dude, it's
so.
so cool in here. This again, I don't know what people like, because I'm partial to this. I love this style of mugs. Kathy walks into Mugs today, okay, and you can't see the fireplace area.
Mugs is the
when
coffee
you
shop
when
in
you
town.
first walk
so,
in, right?
Yeah.
And right as we walk in, we turn the corner and Kath sees the fireplace and the leather chairs.
Yep.
She goes, "Ooh." And it's just everything. The pizza place we went to, the beer's great. The brewery,
Yeah.
what's it called? Starts with
Knuth
Knuth and-
Brewery,
right.
and wood fire pizza, and their food. They had a homemade
literally
tomato
everything on the menu is amazing.
tomato soup today,
There's a
and
style here, and I'm so excited. And it's something that Kathy and I are talking about. You know that seriously, trying to figure
Yeah.
out how to make some of those things work.
Yep.
yeah,
Because we are. I always talk about this, and I should shut up. There is I'm just a huge fan of when you are in the right environment.
Things
All the
just
other
happen.
things work.
Fall into place. Fall into place. Tetris.
Again,
Yes.
you have made such an impression on me personally. You really
Ditto.
have. When you text us and saying, "Hey, I'm eating a pizza and I'm folding it,"
Occasionally.
I said to Kath, "I'm like, what the fuck, man? We got a guy that's an hour and a half away. That's
I remember talking about
I want to go have pizza with Dan now." It's gonna take me an hour to get there, but
Next time I'm gonna roll it up like a burrito.
no,
What is it then? What is it? It's not a calzone then, is it? Is it a,
can you stop? You're so disgusting. We just love your energy for the town. We certainly appreciate your mom. We got to meet your brother.
Yeah.
And it's just been an amazing experience for us. And whether it happens soon or later, we're okay with that. Kathy and I don't get attached to the outcomes necessarily. We just try to move toward and see what happens.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Just
You
keep
know?
making
Yeah.
steps.
Well, think
or-
about the story you told about your mom and you. That, I mean, did she anticipate you crushing it in sales that first day? You guys are about to pack up. You don't know what's going to
Yeah.
happen. So
Yeah.
we just think it's so cool how much you love this place.
Oh, totally. Yeah, like I said, I could literally talk for days
Well,
about how much I love Ripon and all the cool things and all the little nifty
and you
little
are
backstories.
you
and-
are exactly.
Tell us about your role. So one of the things I thought was really cool when you and I spoke. In fact, I think we were walking around your mom's shop, and you know my affection for barnwood and making those types of creations and stuff. And so I'm always looking for artifacts. And I think there was someone had mentioned a store that maybe there was a store that used to be here that you even started talking about the guy who had,
Tracy Porter? No, or
Maybe.
No, it was where the real estate offices used to be.
Wisconsin Reclamation
Yes,
Project.
That's
yes.
it.
Yes, that it used
so
to
I
be
seek that
architectural
stuff out.
salvage.
So talk
Yes.
about what you're doing now, because that salvage stuff you had across the street. Can you talk a little bit about
Sure, yeah.
what's it called? BF?
Yeah, BPG Salvage Co.
That's it. Yeah.
So we opened that last year, February 1st. So we did a 1 year, forgot to celebrate it.
You've been a wee bit busy.
And so what it was basically we for 30 some years have always built our furniture. Just finding pieces that we feel like would go together.
Yeah.
And just pairing them up and making, something special, right?
Yes.
And then also like finding people who are good at what they do, and just, saying, okay, like, here's my vision, here's the materials, go to town.
Yeah.
We lost a few of those guys, and they're older, and it was but they passed away.
Yeah.
And they were great at what they did and real artists,
Yeah.
And so the multiples of products like barnwood frames or tables or something, that slowed. And then also our business took off to a point that we were completely unable to have time to build literally anything. But we have barns full of materials because that's what we do. We build.
Right.
And so we were just like, well, what do we do? Should we just open up a salvage store? And so we did. And we built a greenhouse to announce it. So we built it out of like almost 100% reclaimed materials. Old 2x4s, dimensional lumber, old windows out of schoolhouses.
True 2x4s.
Like what you have in...
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Like what you did a mini version of it
one
and
over
back
there.
porch.
Yes. So
okay.
that was we built that to just show you what you can do.
Yes.
With what looks like,
Love it.
Junk windows or whatever.
Yes.
But they're actually very beautiful once assembled.
Gorgeous.
And so we opened that to allow the public access to our inventory of, at the time, maybe thousands of windows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe for sure 1,000, I think.
Yeah.
But and doors and
Right.
hardware and table legs and tabletops, and you can come in and I'm happy to help you design a table, a coffee table, a kitchen table, whatever.
Right.
But I'm going to give you the materials and you're going to go make it because I just don't, I can't keep up with
you don't have the time.
with the building of it,
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. To just go home and take a project and it's all like solid stuff. It's not like IKEA assembling a furniture. It's 150-year-old butcher block legs on a big spool, top or something.
Yep.
Right.
And and I'll tell you how to do it. Like here's my pro tip.
Yeah.
This is how I would seal it or finish it. I'll give you everything you need, but I just don't want to assemble it.
Absolutely.
So you're,
because it'll take me 4 hours that I need to spend 4 hours redoing the store to replace what's sold.
You're going to laugh, and without revealing too much stuff that you, Kathy, and I have talked about with some opportunities here. When we were wandering today, I got quite emotional. We were looking at some opportunities. You know what I'm talking about. And I just want to keep it private for the podcast purposes, but I truly thought to myself, I bet I could call up Dan, and he could say to me, "Someone wants X built," and we would sit down together and figure that out. And I'd go, "I'll crank it out for you." Because it's funny, I just built this island for our house. It's we had
get it built.
Oh,
the one that we were talking about.
Yes,
I did it in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta. We'll send you pictures.
I'll send you pictures, but it was really, we were restricted because of the dimensions of the house. So it had to be, the top is 22 by 84. So I had to fit something less than that to have overhang and all these types of things. And when you work with really old barnwood, so I picked wood that was cracked and twisted. So you can't do stereotypical joints. I mean, you've got to do a lot of different things to combine it. But anyway,
1,000%.
And I said to Kathy, it was done, and I went, "This is all I want to fucking do." And swear to God. And so then that same moment that I say that, I get a damn text from you about pizza. And I go, "Kath." I know he would call me up and say, "Hey, we've got this client. They're looking for this type of thing in their house, looking for an island, a table, whatever." And we'd sit down and brainstorm how to do it. And anyway, I find it fascinating that you have that stuff, because I know you have a passion for the salvage stuff. When we were in the store, can you talk about even some of the materials you have now? Because we know you had sinks and windows and a whole bunch of things.
So first off, I highly, if you, as long as you're not brain dead, you will realize that anything that you buy new nowadays, even premium stuff, is complete trash and will not look good or be as functional as something that might need a little TLC in the beginning, or whatever to get it right. or barn wood, or
Yep.
cast iron zinc may need a coat of epoxy or whatever to brighten it up and make it bright white.
Well, and real
but
quickly,
it's cast iron. It's not
Yeah,
fiberglass.
right.
It's
That's
going to
right.
crack if you
Right.
drop your hairdryer in it.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And when you talk about fixing things up, it's funny
Yeah.
because there's a video we're going to put out on
cool.
on our Instagram account. You can check out that when we got the wood, I lightly sanded it because I said I am not going to put this through a planer or a joiner because I want to see every single cut mark. I want to see the bee holes.
It's really beautiful.
And I know you think the same way, and that's where you can still turn something into gold without you can clean it and it becomes gold. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And also, even if you were to plane that down to a unoxidized, fresh, clean cut that's never seen the light of day,
Right.
you're also, just because of the age of this wood, the grain pattern is so tight that it's even though it's pine, say, it is 20 times stronger than a brand new pine board where the rings on that
That's
tree
right.
are this far
They're that
apart
wide.
because
Exactly.
they're farmed now.
That's right.
And so they're literally irrigated.
Yep.
They're pumped fertilizer. So those trees grow at an enormous rate.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Back in the day, old growth lumber grew
Nailed
so
it.
slow
Nailed it.
because
That's right.
everything was competing for the same nutrients
That's right.
and water and space and sunlight
Yep.
and everything.
Yeah.
And so the grain pattern on old wood, I mean, the strength of old wood is insane.
Unreal, yeah. I've broken
Compared
plenty of
to
blades, by the way.
anything- yeah, right.
I have.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you
get some old oak, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
you're
Yeah.
just dulling those blades.
Yeah,
you
in
know,
a
losing
heartbeat.
teeth off your saw
Right.
blades. Oh my god, I know.
Yep.
But,
Dan, are you surprised at how creative you are these
dude,
days?
That's a very good point.
Because I listened to you tell your story and you talk about, eating Ripon good cookies and gaming and then you went off and then like the crane operator, all that stuff. And then boom, you end up by happenstance and it just making this your life now and the creativity that you are finding in yourself. Is that something that you were surprised by?
Always been fairly creative, just verbally though.
Yeah.
Just quick with a joke in a convo or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, so my mom did go to school for interior design. She dropped out because she got pregnant with me.
Yeah.
And sorry, mom. And but
She's
anyway,
not sorry.
Not at all.
No one's
but,
sorry.
So I've never ever decorated anything in my whole life.
Yep.
And always just let the girlfriend do whatever she wants in the living room or whatever, and I'll just hang the picture frame or whatever it is. And but when I did inject a few ideas, and my mom was like, "That hits, like let's do that."
Yeah.
So I don't know what I could attribute it to other than growing up in this life.
Yes.
And Legos. So
Yes.
I give lots of praise to Legos because I built a lot of forts and
No way.
That is amazing.
Cool.
So I know if you whatever you have to have what is the what would
You were
hold
engineering
what.
it all in your mind.
Yeah, but like with
You were
plastic,
practicing physics with your Legos. You were
1000%.
cool.
And it like literally like I've never went to school for interior design or anything, and have been asked to decorate many homes on Green Lake in Ripon. I decorated a good portion of mugs with Debbie, the owner.
Yeah.
And
Love it.
so I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's
Love it.
But yeah, and so I've been fortunate to that other people like my design that I, like I said, attribute to my mom and Legos.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
very
awesome.
cool.
Okay, so we are
Yes.
at time. We could talk forever
Sure,
with you.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we can
And you have been awesome.
Yeah.
And
Thank
truly,
you.
Cool.
this meant
Thank you.
so
You-
much
you
to the
guys
two of
too.
us.
Thank you.
You have, honest to God, been a life changer for me and Kath.
Well, we'll see what happens
Yeah,
in
we'll
the
see.
future, but I feel very confident about
Well,
it. So
whatever happens-
I think you can give me a thank you in a couple
No,
of
we
years
are
when you really know Ripon and you're like,
Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
like,
Yeah,
what a cool
we were.
place.
I have to admit, we were joking because we're like, God, everyone seems so nice. And can you imagine getting you get here and it's
Yeah, it's
Hotel
like everybody's
California?
like,
Yeah. Oh, there goes Jack and fucking Kathy again.
That says new
and
ones.
that stupid
We duped
fuck.
them,
There's
baby.
their dumbass shit show podcast.
Shit show.
We were laughing
Oh my
about.
gosh.
That's not how it is. Is it?
When we leave,
Right.
we pull out of city limits. They're like, they're gone.
You got to pay me more than the people that are.
You did the podcast. I don't even have any followers, Dan. I'm not gonna get any advertisers. Can you pull out the Gottman thing?
The
Let's
Gottman
ask
thing.
Dan a question.
Okay.
By the way, I'm so happy that I don't want to curse it, but this computer's working. Baby.
It's
Yeah, we
working.
got it. I have to admit, I knew I would, and I am, like Kathy was saying, I'm very, persistence, what he said.
Yeah, patience,
I've got a saying,
persistence,
it's called patience,
consistency.
persistence, consistency.
Like
That
it,
is
like
my
it.
mantra. I've said it for years.
Yeah, you just.
If you just stay the course,
Yeah.
good things happen. So, all right, so this started as a relationship podcast, right?
Okay.
This was Kathy's vision.
Sure.
She said we should talk about our relationship because we went from all
It
these
really
things.
was born out of the fact that Jack and I talk nonstop, and I'm like, this sounds like a
And you're like,
podcast.
we should just mic
I
up.
didn't. I didn't really mean it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
And when I've got the gear. So anyway, we people actually like the fact at the end of every podcast, there's a relational therapist called the Gottmans.
Okay.
Phenomenal people. They've been doing stuff for 30 plus years. And anyway, they've got an app that's designed to help you in a relationship to bond. So you ask a series of questions, and at whatever stage you're in your relationship, they just believe you always are learning and growing with one another. So at the end of every podcast, we ask each other, we read a question, and we use it as a way to tell people, talk about ourselves, or at least get them to know us. So we're going to ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
I think this would be a good one. It's the open-ended questions.
I wouldn't do love maps. Oh, I love that question.
I know. So interesting.
So we just know a little bit more about you. So it's not about relationships or.
No, and it's a really safe one. It's not a. It's
Yeah, we would never. Look how
the
red he's
question-
turning.
I know.
Yeah, no, right?
Oh my
That's
God,
polite.
it's
That's
the
polite.
light.
No,
hilarious.
Blue light.
How,
Dude.
and we could probably kind of answered this, but maybe it'll get a little more introspective. How have you changed in the last year?
That's a good one.
It is a good one. It is a good one. I mean, that would be easy for us to answer, really, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh God, yeah.
Because we just kind of just put it on the list. It's all different.
train wreck.
Yeah, we bought a house. Yeah, but
So I guess I would say I work less than I ever have since I got here. I probably
and that's by design, right? Because you were overworked and stretched a little thin.
For sure, like 60 hours a week was like that was like a vacation week.
Right,
and,
right.
I mean, I tend to be over there early in the morning and leave, on an average week, probably like 8. By the way, I'm pointing at my shop, which is 2 doors.
Yeah, we
that
got
way.
Yeah.
217 Watson, if you'd like to visit.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Back porch gatherings.
So my mom, so just transitioning to here and getting this built and ready. We didn't really talk about Gents much, did we?
Not too much.
Yeah.
No.
So we're in the barber shop, but it's a men's store. So there's
Super cool
four
men's
owners
store.
and it's a very cool store. Lots of cool things. But yeah, so getting this ready takes a lot of time and whatnot. And so I probably work maybe 60 hours a week now, maybe 30, 35.
Yeah.
Is like, bare minimum, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say I work a little less.
That's good. And hopefully enjoying
all
your
3 stores.
Yeah, all 3 stores, but maybe a little more time for
enjoy it.
A little more time for Dan.
Yeah.
Weaved into
and
that.
also like doing something that's like, more like, the masculine, it's a man store, men's store. So, it's like a little bit like I don't have to compete with, my ma's vision of a room or whatever. And I can kind of just whatever I want.
Yeah.
And she comes over and like I give her a ton of credit because she is helped here so much.
Yeah.
Sure.
And,
Do you ever just look at her and go $1,000 a day? Yeah. and then just walk away.
Right. But yeah. But no, it's like it's nice to kind of pick my pieces out in the wild and bring them back here and place them and see if that even looks good or if I'm just stupid, and without having to consult. It's kind of like almost like I've worked the ropes with her and learned them, and now I get to see if I'm any good at it all by myself.
I love it.
Well,
I'm a real big boy now.
and curating your own look, your own style, your eye.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
you're
Congratulations. We love
So
it.
we always
All right.
sign off by looking at the camera and just saying peace.
Peace. Gang, gang.
Oh, he did even better.
I know.
Yeah.
He's one upping us again. He's
Totally
just too
is.
good.
You rock.
Just helping you guys.
All right. Thank you, my new
thank
friend.
you guys.
All right, you're
Appreciate
awesome.
it. Thank you, viewers.
Yeah. Thank you, viewer. Not plural.
Hopefully.
See you, man. Peace.
All right. Later.
Jack and Kathy Shit Show. Outro take 652.
You should start off laughing. You just listened to another episode of the Jack and Kathy Shit Show.
Our senior producers are me.
Hey, and me,
This episode was produced, engineered, and mixed by
the amazing Key Honar.
Email your questions, comments, or interesting relationship stories to jackandkathyshitshow@gmail.com. That is Kathy with a C.
Be sure to follow and like our marvelous shit show on Instagram and TikTok at Jack and Kathy Shit Show. Apparently, liking and following is a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
This episode was produced by Pint Productions 2022. Point!